She was seated in a chair that was not yet hers. When you watch a player warm up before a final, that's what no one discusses. The trophy table, just visible at the court's edge, and the chair on the opposite side of the net. The way people stare at you as if they already knew something you don't. Sitting in the chair, Alex Eala stared across the net at a Czech player after bouncing the racket grip twice across her hand. Additionally, if you are familiar with Alex Eala's past 2 years on tour, you may have experienced a change in your stomach because of the history between Alex Eala and Czech players. Not the nice type. 13 loses and 0 victories. A number that was so severe and particular that it was no longer a coincidence long ago. She entered a court against a Czech opponent 13 times. She left the loser 13 times. And now, hundreds of Filipino supporters crammed inside a grass court club in England are holding their breath during the Birmingham Open final, where a title is on the line and a Wimbledon seat is somewhere in the distance. She was given the Czech player Bartonova by the draw. It seems that the cosmos has a sense of humor. However, before we proceed, I need you to grasp this. A tennis match is not the subject of this article. In reality, it has little to do with Birmingham. It is about what happens when a player decides in real time, in front of thousands of people, that she will not break at the precise moment that was intended to shatter her. 10 years from now, the events that took place at the Edgbaston Priory Club on that Saturday afternoon in June 2026 will be mentioned in highlight reels. Furthermore, the majority of people still don't completely comprehend the stakes. By the time this is all over, you will have stayed with me. Let's go much farther back. Not to the end, but to the start of the week. Because finals are not where champions are made. There they are made clear. The game that genuinely revealed what Alex Eala was bringing to Birmingham. The second-round match against a Russian qualifier named Kariva should have served as a warning to all of the draw's opponents. It ought to have been commonplace. It wasn't. On a grass court, Chava overcame the top seed with a 5-2 lead in the second set. And the audience began acting in a way that happens when people are outraged. Everyone leans forward slightly as if something dangerous is about to happen during the silent electric shift. The important element is what transpired subsequently. Instead of winning 4 straight games, Eala won 5. She closed the game without letting carry another game after overcoming a 5-2 disadvantage. That is not fortunate. That isn't momentum. That is a player who, deep down in her competitive psyche, has figured out how to flip a switch that most players are unaware even exists. And you would have left that game knowing exactly what Birmingham was going to witness if you had paid great attention to what transpired in between those games, the way she jumped on her toes, and the way she reset between points. However, the majority of respondents failed to make the connection. The Czech curse was still on the minds of most people. The number 13, which trailed her into that final like a shadow, was still the center of attention for most people. This is an honest account of the first set's outcome. She was in charge. Actual control. The kind where each pattern serves a purpose and you can see a player reading the match 2 shots ahead. Where she was getting her serve precisely where she wanted it. After that, Bartankova did what outstanding rivals do. She discovered something. A feature absent from the first 3 games. And game after game, she began to overcome the setback. 75 initially set to Bartonova, the way water rises slowly and then abruptly. In a way that isn't quite quiet, the crowd fell silent. It's that particular stadium silence where everyone is thinking the same thing and no one wants to express it out. 13 was on everyone's minds. This is where I need to slow down because it's not the match point or the trophy that distinguishes careers. Rather, it's the time between losing the first set and heading to the baseline for the second. Because a player has every psychological motivation in the world to stop protecting herself so that she plays not to lose rather than to win if she has lost 13 straight games against a particular kind of opponent in a final after losing the first set. To let the curse to come true on its own. Alex Eala came out swinging after making his way to the baseline. 63 is the second set. There was no competition. It wasn't a grind. She played with the fierce accuracy and cleanliness of someone who had already determined that the match was hers and was only trying to prove it. 1 set, all. Finally, at last, we reached the third set. Additionally, I want you to understand the significance of a third set in a grass court final. There is a fee associated with each point. Your lungs, nerve endings, and legs. Players are doing more than just playing tennis by the third set of a championship. They are juggling the strain of 2 hours of competition, the roar of a constantly shifting crowd, and the knowledge that a single mistake at the wrong time might change the outcome of a match. 2 games from the championship, Eala established a 5-3 lead. The crowd began waving the Philippine flags, which were more numerous than anyone would have thought in a tennis club in Birmingham. After the chanting began, Barcelona broke back 54 and then 55. She was just 2 games away from winning the most significant title of her grass court career when all of a sudden it was tied. All of a sudden, the score appeared just as it had in every encounter with a Czech player. Uncertain, skewed, hazardous. Once more, the audience held their breath. And like a question, the number 13 hung in midair above that court. If I just tell you the score, Mark, what transpired in those next 2 games will seem straightforward. They won 65 thanks to her. She then closed it out with a serve. 2 hours and 37 minutes. Score line 57-63-75. However, the score doesn't convey what it was like to be at that stadium when the final point was scored. It doesn't describe the sound. Rather than the courteous tennis applause you might anticipate in a club, it describes something more intense, louder, and primal. It doesn't explain how she collapsed onto the grass and buried her face with her hands as if she needed a moment to comprehend what she had been pursuing for a very long time. 13 matches, the Czech curse. That particular frightening pattern lasted for 2 years. Absent. Completed. In front of hundreds of Filipinos who had come from all over the United Kingdom to attend that stadium, it was completed on a grass court in Birmingham. Since most tennis media entirely ignores this aspect of the tale, let's take a moment to discuss those fans. Wimbledon is not Edgbaston Priory Club. It's not a tennis cathedral with 40,000 seats. It is a grass court club with a long history, gorgeous, cozy, and encircled by historic English buildings. Additionally, it was crowded with Philippine flags this Saturday. Filipinos saved vacation time, rode trains, drove for hours, and took their kids to their first live tennis event. Suddenly, OFWs who had been following her career from across seas had the opportunity to be in the same room. Additionally, she was truly taken aback when she paused mid-sentence during her in-court interview following her first match of the week and turned to face the crowd.